Okay, so next we're talking about highlighting and shadowing. And here we are using a Sakura Jelly Roll pen in white, a Crayola Super Tip in gray, and a Tombow Dual Brush pen in a lavender, number 673. So what you want to do with this method is first you write your word. Okay. You can also do a blending method here just to give it a little bit more of a dimension, but for right now we're just going over shadowing and highlighting. So then I like to add my highlights, and this is typically just kind of in the thicker portions of the letters. And so just kind of wherever you feel like you need it. And here I like to do a line with a dot in the middle just to break it up a little bit. But there are various methods to do this. Sometimes you can do a couple of lines just to give it more depth. And the great thing about the jelly pens is that, you know, they add that white highlight without it being too stark. So it isn't like a super saturated color. It's just enough to like give your letters just a little pop. And sometimes I'd like to go over it a couple times just to make the opacity a little bit deeper. But it also depends on what your base color is, because sometimes you have a lighter color or a darker color, and so it just depends on what you're using. So that's highlighting. And for shadowing, I like to do it sometimes to the left or to the right of the word, and sometimes to the left of the word. And what you want to consider is if there was a light shining onto your word and it was a three-dimensional word, where would the shadow come from or end up? So possibly because I'm right-handed, I like to do my shadows to the right. So here you would find that the shadow would end up on this side. So you use your gray to create a line. And then because my sun, let's just say my sun is coming from this direction, then this would also create a shadow. And so would this. Similarly, this would create a shadow, and so would this. And then this side, and then slightly underneath, and right here, and again right here, on this side, right here, underneath, right here, and then right here. And then I also like to create a slight shadow for the dot. So there you have it. It looks like a three-dimensional word with a shadow behind it. Sometimes I will even add a little tiny black line breaking apart the gray and the color just to kind of create a little bit of dimension. And I think it also gives your words a little bit of a crisper look. So really just right where the color meets the gray is where you would add your black line. And again, this is just completely optional, but I find that it adds kind of a 3D effect almost. And it really makes your colors pop and your letters pop. And there you have it. That is how you shadow and highlight.